What's up, my good people? And welcome back in to the Bully Ball Show on Sparks TV. I'm your host, Nino Sparks, aka the Mid Range Bully. Now, quick vid for you today. Figured I'd jump in before lunchtime, give you a quick breakdown. Today, I want to talk about the teams that could or should make the playoffs. Usually I stick to the top contending teams. Those are the teams we want to talk about: the Lakers, the Celtics, the Mavs, Denver, list goes on. The top contending teams is usually what we cover. But we gotta give everybody they fair shake, right? And usually today's team, I want to talk about the San Antonio Spurs, which is a team I really don't cover. A lot like the Celtics, and I'll keep it real because they're ops, they're enemies. I'm a Laker fan. I've longed to hate the Celtics, the Spurs, and anybody else that wants to beat the Clippers, basically anybody, even the Warriors to a degree. You know, it just is what it is. But we're going to be fair and we're going to jump right into it. But as always, before we get started, if it's your first time tapping in, or maybe you tapped in a few times, go ahead, tap that like, tap that subscribe, tap that notification bell, stay tapped in. Let's get this shit. Okay, so the San Antonio Spurs, to put it in the form of a question as always, will the Spurs make the playoffs this season? I don't think so. I really don't. I think they look on paper like they're going to be a contending team. But if you look at the assets that they have as far as their draft picks, they just got back a draft pick, if I'm not mistaken. And this next upcoming draft is too loaded for them to want to, be good right now. There's no reason for them to be good right now. All you want to continue to develop Wemby. You want to continue to develop Vassell and these other guys who will probably become trade picks or trade assets in the future. You brought in some vets, Harrison Barnes. I think Chris Paul is going to be great for Wemby. Excuse me, I got some in my eye. Chris Paul is going to be great for Wemby. If you notice with Chris Paul, for whatever reason, maybe at the back end, since he's been with the Clippers, he's better suited with young guys, which is crazy. He doesn't really, if you look at the other stops, okay, he leaves the Clippers. The Clippers never amounted to shit. I don't care how good they looked or how many games they won during the seasons or whatever. They didn't win the championship. They never amounted to anything. And every year people was picking them and they never amounted to shit. So he leaves that situation, ends badly or whatever. He goes to Houston with James Harden, a guy who was an MVP, a guy who was in his prime, and they don't do shit either. In fact, I don't even think them guys can stand each other after that. Then he goes to OKC with the young fellas. Bounce back season. Had them looking better than expected. And they've been good since. Goes to Phoenix with Book. They look good right away. They go from being a team that we thought was going to be good to looking like a team that now they contended. Now they can contend for some years to come. They still don't amount to shit, but he leaves that situation. They've been good since. He left Book better than when he found him. Not to say Book wasn't that dude before. He was that dude. That's why he wanted to join him. But it seems like Chris plays better with young guys. Maybe because his temperament or whatever, the young guys are more receptive to it because, what he is or what he's meant to the game, him being, the quote unquote point guard, so maybe they revere him. So maybe they're more receptive to, the way he comes across. When you got guys like James Harden, Steph Curry and them, like, they not trying to hear that shit. So I think he's going to be great for Wemby in that fact. He's still going to probably miss hella games, but that'll be good for the rookie that they draft. I think it's Castle, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have anything pulled up right now, but the young fella that they drafted, big point guard or whatever, dude got game. So he's going to be able to develop along with Chris Paul. Chris Paul will be great for him. and dude will probably have a chance to start a lot of games, and that's another reason why I don't think they're going to be that great. And the West is fucking loaded. That's the reason why they're not going to be great. And I could be wrong. Hell, they could hit the ground running, win a bunch of games, and look like how OKC looked last year. And then maybe the following season, maybe we talking about them in a different light. I just think they got too many draft picks. They got too much, they stay in the game a lot if they just, watch this season. I think they'll look good on paper. They'll win more games than they won. Because remember, you don't need to be the last team in the league to get. We've already seen that the way they've flipped the lottery or whatever. Like, you can win little to no games like Detroit and not end up with a pick or a top pick. So I'm thinking they just don't want to be as bad as the Trailblazers. No disrespect to Blazers fans, but you're not going to be any good. But are they trying to be better than the Jazz? It looks like the Jazz are really trying to be good. We'll see. We'll see if that's fool's gold as well. I think a lot of these teams are going to compete the first 20 games of the season. Wemby in certain matchups, when he goes up against Chet, they're going to be real competitive. Chris will probably play that game. When he goes up against LeBron and KD and Yoke, those will be, Embiid, those will be all competitive games. But other than that, he chilling. At some point of the season, they might even shut him down. Because the idea of getting Cooper Kupp to pair with Wembanyama. Then you got Wemby, Coop, Bentley Coop as I call him, Matt Barnes, Vassell, and Chris Paul if you bring them back. That's the team. Or maybe the young dude will be ready to jump into that starting position. That team right there, that's a 5 to 10 year window. Like I said, Greg Popovich, he can coach till he looking like Santa Claus. He already halfway there. We'll see if he ever picks a successor. And speaking of Greg Popovich, I'm going to end it like this. Name me the team, name me the coach on a team that hasn't went to the playoffs in over a decade and still has a job. Name me the coach that hasn't made the playoffs in the last 5 seasons and still has a job. It doesn't exist. The last time the Spurs won the championship was in 2014, thanks to Kawhi Leonard. Won the Finals MVP. We knew their big three was at the back end. The following season, if Zaza Pachulia doesn't purposely take out Kawhi by undercutting them to the point where they had to issue that a new rule that you can't get up under guys when they shoot, and now we're just seeing guys just shoot threes, uncontested threes. If he doesn't do that, maybe they win back to back. Maybe he doesn't even leave. At least not right away. Because maybe he chased the three-peat. And then you convince him to re-sign, and then he goes to the Clippers from there. By that time, shit, maybe you would have gotten 2 more out of me. So the last time they was relevant was 2015, a decade ago. The last time they won a championship was over a decade ago. They ain't even came close to making the playoffs. 10 fucking years. Now you can say, oh, after that they tried to be competitive with Aldridge and DeRozan and Murray. You can say that. They tried to be competitive. I think they just been loading up on assets for the last 10 years. Now they got the number 1 pick, and they gonna try to do it back to back. Or excuse me, it wouldn't be back to back, but they gonna try to get 2 number 1 picks in the last 3 seasons. robbery. It's crazy. You just seen what happened to Darvin Ham. Who's not, I'm not saying he's on the same level as Coach Popovich. He'll never be that. But the first season, first year head coach, comes into a clusterfuck of a situation that the last guy before him couldn't fix. You got to tell a future first ballot Hall of Famer, Russell Westbrook, that he needs to come off the bench. He buys into your system after an up and down season. They finally get him trade, finally get rid of him, bring in some new guys. They hit the ground running. You take that team all the way from the play-in to the conference fucking finals in your first year, and you lose to the team that had your number all season in the Denver Nuggets, who everybody picked to win the championship, and they did win the championship. You get swept by them. That's nothing wrong with that. I mean, yeah, you don't want to get swept, but they had your number all season. Okay, so you come back the next season. You win the first ever NBA World Cup, or whatever they want to call it. Tournament Cup, NBA Cup. You hang that first banner. Then you take that team after another clusterfuck of a season all the way to the actual playoffs, where you could have ducked and dodged and probably snuck your way back to a conference finals, but you chose to go head on and face the defending champs, who again had your number all season. Now, I don't want to go too far into it. It was his fault as far as game planning and stuff like that, but in those 2 seasons, you got wrapped up and thrown out. Mike Budenholzer, how many times is he going to get fired and hired? Frank Vogel, again, 2 seasons and done. We seeing it. All these coaches get 1 and 2 seasons. But yeah, Pop been hiding in the back for a decade. Ain't done shit. Think you coached Team USA once within that time span. That don't count for what you did to the Spurs with the Spurs. So are they going to be relevant this season? Maybe for the first couple of games. And then they going to book it. Chris Paul going to be on the sidelines. Harrison Barnes might be on the sideline. Hell, even Wemby. It's all about the development of Wemby. Next season might be when you see the Spurs get competitive. Especially if they secure Cooper Flag. But that's all I got for free. And that's probably the last time I'll talk about the motherfucking Spurs, unless they do become competitive. And that's no disrespect to Spurs fan. Hey, I'm pretty sure y'all feel the same about my Lakers. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Am I tripping? Are the Spurs really going to be like that this season? Is Wemby going to take it to another notch? He could have held. He had an argument for Defensive Player of the Year. He really did. Can he bag that? We know he's going to be an all-star. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Are the Spurs going to make the playoffs? Are they going to make the play-in? Or are they going to do what I said and be a subpar competitive team most of the season and then book it towards the end of the season and commence the tank for Cooper Flag? Y'all let me know. I'll tap back in later. Peace.